Hello, everyone, and welcome to No Surrender, No Retreat, the Babylon 5 Retrospective Season 4. This week on the program, we're going to talk about Episode 7, Epiphanies. Say that 50 times quick. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I am your host, Science Fiction Snob. Yeah, but before we get started, I think I should bring in my co-host. He's the man who he's the P20 of the show. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Babylon 5 Retrospective.
All right. Yeah. You sound extra excited today, Cam.
I
looking
am.
forward to this one? All right. Favorite one of yours?
It's fine. It's very much a transitional setup episode kind of thing. So
that's what I was thinking. It's kind of a transitional setup episode. But anyway, all right, let's get into it. Do we anything you have, Cam, before we get started? Anything we need to talk about or go over? Anything? No. Me neither. Let's just jump right into it. Let's bring in our guests. First, let me bring in Death Angel Shadow, our other regular co-host, co-panelist. Welcome, Jeff.
Recently deceased.
Oh,
yeah.
In his other life,
good for
my Hyperborea character died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm now Darladek the dead. But that's all right.
And let's bring our guest co-host for the week, who switches out with Madman all the time. It's his week this week. From across the pond, it's Dean. Welcome, Dean. And you were the one who killed Jeff's character? Oh, I can't hear you.
Hey, you're muted.
Try again, Dean.
You're muted.
Hear you, Dean.
Okay, I
just about that. That's very professional of me.
The other button, the other mute button.
The other mute button. Yes, I had a cat walk past just before you brought me in. So yes, hello everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here.
All right,
and you deny all culpability for Jeff's character's death.
For the murder.
I do, yes, but hopefully the opportunity will arise in the future.
Yes.
Well, yes. I'm looking forward to it. I died a very unglorious death. Speaking of cats. It was a saber-toothed tiger that caught me mid-air when I was trying to cast my little spell and flap my arms and levitate as quickly as I could, but apparently I'm only 10 feet per round. It didn't get me high enough up the ground, and in Hyperborea, by the way, the spell does not. It's not a concentration spell, so my lifeless body was basically floating about 10 feet in the air, shredded. So it was glorious. Yeah. It was glorious, but I was cat tail, just kind of like hanging there for the cat. Anyway, that's all right. I'll make a new one.
All right. Well, we've got 11 people watching. That's pretty good. Good start off for the day. That's great. Let's say hello to a couple people in the chat before we get started. Of course, Dave is here, sending greetings from the Narn delegation. Thanks, Dave. We appreciate that. And, I personally, have a little place in my heart for the Narns.
I do like the Narns.
A little bit. Outpost Nerd is here. He says, evening, Outpost Nerd. Who else do we got here? Scrolling down. That's it. Of all the people. I should say Q2 is in the chat. And our other regular guest co-panelist, not on the show tonight, of course, it's Dean's turn. Elvis didn't die. He went home. Yeah. We'll talk about Elvis a little bit, maybe. And anyone else who's watching is just hiding. If you want to let yourself be known, I'll say hello to you. But hey, if not, just want to keep quiet. That's perfectly fine. Oh, wait. Just popped in here. Keith Studley, another one of our regulars. Good to see you.
Greetings, Keith.
Welcome. Good to see you. All right. Cam, I guess we're ready. You jump right into it. You want to do the quick summary, and then I'll do the detailed one, which is going to be pretty short today. But
certainly.
Yeah.
Episode 73, Season 4, Episode 7, Epiphanies, written by J. Michael Straczynski. Original air date February 10th, 1997, and production code 407. I think they're pretty much all in line at this point, with one exception, so maybe I'll stop talking about that. Anyway, Garibaldi resigns his position Bester returns with news that Earth Alliance plans to isolate and discredit Babylon 5.
All right. And I'm going to, so the show starts off. There's a party on Babylon 5. Franklin is macking on the chicks again. They get him in there. And then we cut to Earth, and Bester is talking to somebody, some sort of official who's close to the president. And we get the information that Cam just mentioned, that the president wants to shut down Babylon 5. Dun, dun, dun. And of course, we have the intro. There's sort of one main thing going on, I see, with a couple of other little things sprinkled about. So I'm going to kind of handle it that way. The main sort of plot is this Bester showing up on the station. He shows up. He basically talks to Sheridan. And he says, "Hey, in exchange for getting my girlfriend out of the deep freeze and taking her out of those shadow ships, I'm going to give you some information." And of course, Franklin says, "We haven't been able to do that yet." Okay, well then, Zaha Doom is empty. Let's go to Zaha Doom. Sheridan doesn't really want to go, but he says, "Listen, you got to do this because this is important. The information that I have is important." And he says, "All right, you have my word. We'll go to Zaha Doom and give me the info." So the info is that there's a squadron at the jump gate, and there's been a bunch of Psy-Corps, the Black Omega Squadron guys that are going to go in there, and they're going to kill all the Earth Squadron, and they're going to blame it on Babylon 5. So Babylon 5 decides, hey, we're going to go, and we're going to go and we'll intercept the Psy-Corps, Black Omega Squadron guys, kill them, and save the other guys, and therefore prevent this little propaganda win that the president wants to get. So that's what they do. And after that, they go to Zaha Doom. But unfortunately, just as they arrive, Lita senses something, and Sheridan's little spider sense goes off as well. And they get out of there, and Zaha Doom blows up. Those are the main things that happen in the episode. There's a bunch of other smaller things as well, which are kind of important, and I think are setting things up for future. Garibaldi gets a message. It looks like a Windows 95 screensaver, and he immediately goes and then quits his job, and Zach Allen becomes chief. Bester mentions to Lita near the end of the episode that he knows stuff about her. She should come back to the Corps because he knows stuff. Jakar talks to Franklin and says, Franklin tells him, hey, we may be able to get you a fake eye. And all right, Jakar and Londo meet, and that's a little bit of an interesting because Londo comes back to the station. That's a little interesting. Here, I guess. Sheridan and Lynn have a little makeout session. I don't know how important that is, but yeah, that happens. And the last thing of the episode is that. I should mention. Jakar meets Garibaldi and thanks him as well. But the last thing of the episode is that the sniveling little Weasley guy from Centauri Prime gets made regent of Centauri when Londo leaves. But by the end of the episode, the final scene is that he wakes up in his bed and he's a little disturbed, wakes up in the middle of the night. And he checks on his shoulder, and there's something on his shoulder with an eye, some weird looking thing. I have no idea what that's about, but
yes, we do.
Yes,
I would guess that it's some sort of. Well, they talk about the dark servants of the shadows, so we assume it's something to do with them. But yeah, that's a pretty ugly looking thing. So so that's basically the very quick summary, and I guess I'll leave it over to Cam. Turn back to Cam, and I'm sure we can talk about those various aspects during the show. So let's go.
Yeah, I was thinking about how to organize this, and it's so when I was going, it was just basically bullet point. There's not any really strong storylines other than kind of the overview for the the Earth's Civil War and Bester portion, but then the other characters are kind of just piecemeal. So maybe I'm going to suggest that we talk about the plot with Bester, and then just kind of go through the characters and talk about we'll just go through each character and around for everybody to comment on their interactions. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Sounds great.
We do start out, with I'm presuming the guy that Bester is talking to is the chief of Psychor, the political chief or whatever, whereas Bester is, seems to be in charge of the Psychops, I guess. I don't know if that was ever actually stated anywhere specifically that he was the chief, but he certainly seems to be treated that way here.
I didn't see anything stated about that, but he's wearing a similar uniform. It seems assumed that he's the big cheese for the Psychor somehow.
Well, yeah, he's definitely a Psychor guy, because I think they were at Psychor headquarters, correct?
Yeah, it looked like it. Yeah.
Okay. So, basically they're indicating that Clark is kind of feeling cagey, I guess. So he's and we find out later that whatever influence whatever shadow influence they had has disappeared. They're gone now. So he's lost some backing. So his plan is to discredit Babylon 5. I think they said with not only with Earth, but with the other various governments, right?
Because non-aligned worlds.
Yeah. That's their support system essentially. So they talk about knocking out the legs beneath them or whatever, or the pillars. So Bester comes to Babylon 5, and same kind of thing. They discuss this, the whole thing as Snob mentioned. So I'll just turn this over to Dean, I guess, and say, what do you think about this Bester plot? Well, I won't comment. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're now getting a bit more of an insight into how Psychor operates, and we're seeing that Bester was truly kind of pushed to one side during when the shadows were involved, and he's been brought back in because he's needed. And we kind of got that last time Bester was on board the station to rescue the telepaths in being shipped to the shadows. He indicated there was something going on in Psychor, and we get quite I find it's lovely, almost confirmation of what's been happening at Earth. And the fact that Earth now has to change tack, they can now look at Babylon 5. I almost get the feeling that whilst the shadows were there, we always complain, where was Earth during the Shadow War? Why was nothing done? It almost feels like the shadows were keeping Earth away from Babylon 5 and focused on something else. And now Clark can turn his attentions back to Babylon 5. And you come up with this big elaborate thing, four branches of the government, with the Psychor, Earth Force, Night Watch, and the Ministry of Peace, all not knowing what each other's doing, but having their own roles. So I think it's a great setup, indicating things are about to get hot for Babylon 5. Clark is now able to turn his attention to that station, and I guess he fears what Sheridan can become or do because of the success and victory of the Shadow War.
He doesn't know what he's already become.
No, I would have said stuff would have been reported back. Sheridan's too big a figure for spies and other people not to have reported back to Earth. That
maybe.
The shadows are gone, and I'm almost positive they would know it's because of Sheridan and potentially Delenn. So they got to turn their eyes now to Babylon 5. They got to remove him from power. They got to remove Babylon 5 from the board. So it's a great setup. Bester once again being chosen, and what was it? You got the scene on board the in customs where you got Zach bringing in the new recruits, letting them know what it's all about. And I think it was sorry, just need to get to my notes.
You'll never know who turns up. What turns up around here?
You never know who's going to turn up, and you then get. I know we'll talk about it later, but you get Londo turn up, and then you get Bester turn up, and then
the Elvises.
The Elvises, which apparently they are an actual Elvis troupe from Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was really big. That was really big at the time when I lived in Vegas. So yeah, I mean they were everywhere.
Yeah, I did laugh at that, but there's a lot here. So hopefully I've got the ball rolling on that before we go into the meeting then with the captain. What I will say, how they treat Lita in this episode, I think is telling. She's just commanded to come to the meeting to help protect against Bester. And with everything she's done for them, a little bit of respect, maybe a recognition, being put on the payroll. I don't know. I don't like the way they treat Lita.
Yeah, and we should talk about that later. But she brings it up too. So we'll dig into that. Jeff, what do you think about the setup here with Bester and the beginning part?
Well, I get the whole. It's very. They're trying to. Only Clark knows what's going on. They're keeping everything very compartmentalized. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, and the right foot doesn't know what the left. I don't know. Whatever. It's just like, okay, I get it. Yeah, I mean that is something that's kind of typical in that type of thing. But there's clearly a setup where they're basically wanting Bester to do something that is well, yeah. Anyway, well, I'm sure we'll get into what the plan is that he wants Bester to pull off and what Bester does with it. I love his character. I think he did an okay job in this one, going through and trying to placate, and it's just I don't know. You kind of get the feeling like Bester's kind of middle management at this point. He kind of been pigeonholed into this offshoot thing, and we need you to do this, but we can't tell you any more than this part.
Mm.
So I don't know.
He clearly doesn't act like that personally. He acts like he's kind of in charge of everything. And
we know he has aspirations of that.
Right. But he clearly doesn't have the overt influence. What did you think about? I mean, they kind of. They kind of quickly mention, and this is for anybody, that the shadows are gone now, but it's we really didn't see what the shadows were ever really doing with Earth. I mean, we saw that they were kind of there and everything, but it's if they've devoted this effort to turning Earth, I mean, they basically did, right? They infiltrated Earth and orchestrated all this, and then did nothing with it. What was their plan? They with the Centauri, you saw what they did. They used them to start this war and chaos all over the place. But Earth, they really didn't do much of anything. And it seems like this massive piece on the board that the shadows just let sit. None of it makes sense to me. And thus their pulling out also means nothing to me. It's like, well, what's the difference?
We have no investment in it, basically, other than the couple of scenes that we saw where Morden was there, maybe on Earth at one point in time, and a couple of the other his counterparts.
Yeah.
Other than that, we really have, and I think this goes back to one of the complaints that we had in the last show, where it was like, in several of the last shows, for that matter, where we're like, what's going on?
Yeah, and I what Dean said, I agree with. It's like, okay, they're coming back to this, they're setting it up, but the fact that it is like an on-off switch seems very apparent to me. And again, it's fine that they are on, but it's just, what has been going on and why did it matter? I'm sorry, Dean, I think you're muted again.
The only thing about the Earth, it just simply used a couple of psi cops or psi people to run their ships, the shadows. That's all that I can, 100 of them that captured. Or
I was muted again.
I can see.
Right. Yes. Sorry.
No, I was saying it's the price of 6 episodes. That's it, purely simple. I suspect JMS had some great plans to really build up the momentum with Earth, getting Earth to interfere with Babylon 5 during the Shadow Wars. Yeah. But it's exactly what I think, Snob, you said it. The Civil War should have happened before the end of the Shadow War. And you could have had that entwined nature and the stakes really rising. Instead, it feels like they're doing a bit of catch-up, a bit of a lore catch-up on, what's been happening at Earth? Oh, this has been happening. Right.
Meanwhile,
let's get the story moving. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I know I harp on this a lot, but I can't get over it. It's like it's just if the Shadows had this grand plan and they put all the effort into uh, uh, co-opting Earth, and then they just didn't do anything. It, I don't know. I can't get over it.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know would have at least helped a little bit is a few scenes back on Earth with Clark or with some of the other guys where they're getting in the reports from the Shadow War, their observations of what's going on, what their spies had caught. Where did they get these ships from? What this is. Just kind of just little, not even 20-second, 30-second scenes would have kept it in sight, in mind.
Yeah.
And I think
There was so much going into those episodes. Apart from the first two, there was so much going into those episodes. I don't think they could have cohesively put something in. It's the price of squishing too much into one season.
yeah.
But I mean, imagine what this. I mean, again, just compare this. What happened with Centauri Prime versus what happened with Earth, and
Yeah.
it's essentially, they kind of got oppressive on Earth, and Centauri Prime lit the galaxy on fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they were about to destroy the entire planet, to serve their crazy, shadow fueled emperor.
I can't
And,
believe the Vorlons weren't on their way to Earth too.
Well, that's the other
Yeah,
thing.
they should have been.
There was
Yeah.
no mention of that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that should have been mentioned. There should have been like, again, you could have had these little short scenes that could have been put in there.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, okay, 6 episodes. Maybe they could have. I mean, we're getting into now. Having seen this episode and the next one, kind of.
I take, Dean, that you're explaining why they didn't do it, not disagreeing with Jeff's idea.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with Jeff. In fact, welcome to the club. The sheer frustration of you've had 3 episodes that have been 3 seasons that have been incredible, and then you're just so frustrated that they dropped the ball on the first.
But what's going on Earth?
Season.
What's going on
Yeah.
Earth? We've said that how many times?
I know.
It does seem strange. Like, of the big powers in the galaxy, it's the Narn, the Centauri, the Mbari, and the humans. And there's a whole quarter of that are sort of pushed on the sidelines, and we have no idea why aren't the Shadows using them to do something, right?
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, we will be finding that Mars and Proxima are also still in a state of rebellion, and it's like, did Earth just sit on their hands for that too, while Babylon 5 was busy with the Shadow War, and just let that kind of go as well? I mean, none of it makes sense in terms of a cohesive story. Now, we will be seeing a ton of the Earth stuff. We're going to get a lot, which is playing catch up, but they will get to it. But Snob, anything about the setup here with Bester and Earth that you want to comment on?
No, I mean, no. We like to see Bester back. He's the evil guy. Though I will say, and we're going to get into it, I'm sure, in this episode, he doesn't seem to be that much going along with what Earth's up to. He seems to be more focused on his own individual plan and his own ideas, saving his girlfriend.
Well, yeah, he did cut. I mean, this is the deal that he cut with Babylon 5. That this is a fulfillment of an earlier setup. That. They were supposed to help, and they did touch on it in the meeting. And we could just proceed on to that too. We could just keep going with this.
Well, I'm thinking specifically of his speech near the end, that his little soliloquy, which kind of lays out his whole thing after Zach leaves.
That was a lot of tell, don't show.
We'll get to that one.
But I'm not saying it's a bad like him having his own motivation and stuff. I think it fits better into his character overall, so we're not constantly wondering, is he, we're kind of given the fact that we're not wondering if he's, which side is he on? Is he playing both sides? And the truth is, he is playing both sides because he's got his own agenda. He doesn't fit in with any of the agendas of necessarily of for sure the Earth, and we assume not Babylon 5. Right.
So the plan here that he's coming to inform them of is that Earth, they've made an official block. I guess they hadn't before. Basically they're banning anybody from traveling to Babylon 5 civilian ships and everything, which it would seem like they would have done before.
I was going to say I thought they would have. I thought that was already gone long time
No,
ago.
no, because remember you had the pastor, the reverend, and the other priests and stuff turn up on the station in the rock. The rock cried out, indicating there was still official travel between Earth and Babylon 5.
So what was there? Just a travel warning out for?
Advisory.
What because.
Yeah, it's probably hard to control actually, but in this case, they're setting it up. That they are going to have these patrols out there, and the ploy is that they're going to have Psychor's little black ops guys kill them, kill the Earth Patrol, and then blame it on Babylon 5, right?
Yeah,
and then so this whole thing. Well, let's just talk about that. So this thing with Susan, she leads the squad out there to stop that attack. Which they do. And the guys are like, "Oh, we thought you were the bad guys," and it's like,
it's a little bit corny.
I don't know that. Well, let's talk about that. Let's start with Jeff. What did you think about that whole scene? Okay, this is the overt plot, right? That's going on, and the second part, of course, is going to Zahadum. We'll talk about that too. But
right.
This is the foiling Clark's brilliant plan here. Which is
well, I mean, we skipped the meeting with Bester and all that. But
go ahead if you want to talk about it. Go ahead.
Because of course, Bester shows up and he says, he's his usual chipper self and says, I'm becoming fond of that, of that cell. It's becoming home away from home or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he goes. We don't really see him in the cell or anything like that. Next thing we know, they're going to get Lita, and and as what is alluded to, the way that she was treated, I was not particularly fond of. But she kind of was almost surprised that she would be, oh, but I'm a blip. He'll just consider me a blip, which of course is what they call. Yeah, but she's been off the radar for so long, and she's been part of this whole operation with the Shadow War. You think she would have earned some grace?
Let's go deeper into Lita's story a little bit later, but she is in the meeting here, obviously.
Right, and I don't know what was implied with Bester kind of getting that whole woozy kind of thing. I don't know if he was trying to scan.
He was trying to scan everybody. It was the idea that
he was getting blocked out. He had been good to his word up to this point, anyways, because they know that he's, they know he's duplicitous at best. He's definitely a snake. But the fact that even with Susan present, she would be able to at least identify whether or not he was trying to do something, right?
Well, on her, at least, I think.
She's been brought in. Yeah, she's been brought in before, when dealing with Bester, at least on one occasion. But
what I'm saying is, I think what they established was that Susan had enough experience with her mother that she would realize when she was being scanned.
Yeah, right. she could feel the scan, whereas other people wouldn't even know.
So she was a scan detector, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lita's a little stronger than that, obviously.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that, I'm sure, in a minute. But Bester's kind of, obviously trying to do something, and he's very confused and whatnot. But then he does kind of detail this whole plan about, look, his Omega Squadron is going to go out and attack the regular patrols that are guarding the jump gate, the last jump gate, I think it is, before Babylon 5. Isn't that the way it was?
I think it was one of the neighboring jump gates that head to Earth from Babylon 5. So anything coming through the jump gate has come from Babylon 5.
So the implication, and maybe this is some inconsistency, is that the way it's implied is you can just jump from one to another, and you almost have to go through it. That's kind of the way it was implied in this.
Yeah, the law behind how the jump gates work is a bit sketchy, in my opinion.
It's contrary to the way that I had always understood them. Is like, once you're jumped into hyperspace, you can go out and navigate through the hyperspace to another jump gate.
Yeah.
But now in this episode, it's almost like they're like, oh no, that's not the case. You're going to jump from this jump gate to that jump gate, come out, and then go back into whatever.
Yeah. It's Sector 49 is the jump gate.
Thank you. Yeah. So at any rate, this is the closest jump.
Let me just add to that though. The thing is that I think what they're saying is, most ships can't go into hyperspace, right? It would primarily be the bigger cruisers and that kind of thing. So those would most likely be all military ships. So I would assume that most civilian ships wouldn't have a warp, wouldn't be jump capable. They have to use the jump gate. So I think that's why they're guarding this jump gate.
They can't create their own jump.
Well, I think the issue is if you go into one gate, why wouldn't you just go to the gate closest to your destination?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the gates aren't a one-to-one connection. So you can go through the Babylon 5 gate and come out at Io, for example,
Right.
which is within Earth territory. So why it's the inconsistency of how the gates work, and the
that's
fact
right.
that,
I forgot about the Io gate. Why?
Yeah. So why not just jump straight to Io if you
maybe they don't want to protect that one because it's close to Earth and they know they know about it all the time.
Yeah. So I think they're choosing. Yeah, they're choosing a gate that typically has a lot of traffic going from to Babylon 5. And then they're challenging anything that comes through the gate. Have you come from Babylon 5? Or are you going to Babylon 5 or something like that?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the premise is that Esther's basically he kind of laid out that what he's been told to do is basically order his Omega Squadron, his special black Omega Squadron to attack and then make it look like it was Babylon 5 that did this. Right. And but he is giving them this information so that they can subvert that and stop the attack. Now, ultimately, why Susan is leading this charge, I don't know at this point.
No, I think it's nice she's leading the charge. Yeah. It's not without precedent.
Keffer's not there, so
right. They got rid of the.
And I guess I guess they didn't want to take a White Star just in case, right? One of the White Star class ships, because
no, they definitely don't, because then that's an alien ship that's coming in. They want to show.
Then it would look like a Minbari attack. Yeah,
exactly.
And of course they've got the what are the improved Star Furies called? There's a name for them.
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts, yes. And I'm guessing that's the squadron that she's leading is.
I think they actually had multiple. They had different types. I think from Babylon 5, the older and the newer ones.
I think it was a mixed squadron.
Yeah, but you needed some of the newer ones because that's the same kind of Star Furies that the Black Omega Squadron has. If I recall, they've got all those as well. So you need something that can go toe to toe with them. But
I want to know in this attack, from the perspective of the Earth Force ships, the regular guys that are guarding the gate, they see some ships approaching and then some other ships approaching, and they have a fight between them. Why would they assume that one was friendly and the other one wasn't? I mean, they weren't actually attacked, right, by the Omega.
Well, not they popped through hyperspace and they're like, it's a trap. And, of course, they just recognize them as Star Furies. But the Omega Squadron, there was some of the other ships there, but that was...
Yeah, like the shuttles or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's my question. Why wouldn't Clark just say, oh, look, Babylon 5 orchestrated this thing and they blew up some of our ships that were there, and just say, oh, yeah, the Omega Squad, those were Earth ships that were assisting the other squadron there because they heard Babylon 5 was doing something and
Exactly.
Babylon 5 came and murdered them. Right? How is it not the same result?
Yeah,
it would have been. It kind of falls apart, the whole plot point there. Just kind of like, I mean, it's cute. It's like, Ivanova, she's like, it's a trap. They're actually out to attack you, blah, blah, blah. And okay. Why weren't they jamming signals, or why weren't they? We're talking about the Psi Corps here, right? Weren't they? They've got some tech, some advanced tech level, right? Why aren't they?
Yeah,
What?
that scene should have been a lot more detailed. Should have been probably twice as long as it actually was, and really building up to, the Black Omega should have been engaging with the Earth Force, and then they come through the gate and assist, and some of them get destroyed, and the others get saved. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, it concludes, with I thought you were supposed to be the bad guys, and they're like, well, haha, the rumors of our betrayal are what greatly over exaggerated or something to that effect, and it's like,
that was
it was
not what
weak.
it's not what do you think? How do you save this scene?
I mean, I can, I'll do some hand wavium.
You do a lot of it in this episode.
I mean, the Babylon 5 guys surprised the Black Omega Squadron. They weren't expected to be attacked. Like when you go in, you're like, hey, we're gonna go in, we're gonna just blow up these guys real easy. It's a secret mission. You don't really expect. So you can maybe say, oh, they didn't know, and the surprise. I mean, we don't really see that in the scene, but be honest, I'm making up stuff that's not there to try to work this a little, justify it a little bit better. You guys are, you guys have the right points, but I mean, in the end, hey, it's the good guys that win. I don't think like Omega Squadron, they're probably just better trained and stuff. I don't think they have any better kit necessarily. Like they've got the top of the line fighters, but Babylon 5 has a couple of those as well, right? Like they've got a bunch of those as well. I assume the squadron that's put there are probably, they're probably picked to be the worst. They've got the oldest equipment. There's no point, Clark's like, I'm not going to blow up our good stuff.
Well, they're also telepaths, which, who knows what kind of training they have to, who knows what they can do to use their telepathic abilities in a battle like that.
There's that too. But so I would be putting, you'd be putting your worst. Who's the first guys who are going to guard the frontier? Let's send the crappiest guys with the oldest stuff. So they probably are not a match for Babylon 5 or for the Omega Squadron.
Well, this is where I think something different happened, and it could explain stuff that we don't see, which is you put some key people in that squadron defending, enforcing quarantine. People like the son of a general. Because when the general's son gets killed and it's Babylon 5, that general's not even more fervent about, we've got to take down Babylon 5. You put important people in there, so the impact is that much is felt that much more.
Sure,
but it backfires.
There's a difference between important people and competent people, right?
Absolutely.
Son might be, examples of him being very incompetent, maybe completely incompetent, right?
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that this is one of the. I think this squadron is probably one of their lower, training and whatever wise. That's what. Yeah, but we don't know that. Yeah.
Wait. Which? Oh, the ones
the one enforcing quarantine.
Target. The guys are supposed to be blown up.
Yeah. Maybe they just throwing out the.
Well, what they weren't though is like loyalists, right? True believer types. Because they wouldn't have been like, oh, Babylon 5, you're not so bad after. I mean, they would have been like, get them. So I think it was
Clark wouldn't choose his most loyalist followers to kill,
agree.
Right?
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, got anything else on that, or we can move on to the
just to answer Outpost on something you said, blip being a level of psychic power. No, blips are people who've left Psychor and are being hunted by Psychor to either bring him back in to rejoin Psychor or to go on drugs or undergo experiments.
Yeah. Blips are basically runaways. People who left.
They're runaways.
Yeah. What was the other? There was another term that they always used in it. I think she even used that term. I can't remember. Not in conjunction with blip, but as a having something to do with that. At any rate, she's a Lita's only a P5, right?
I do want to mention
allegedly.
Yeah, I did want to mention in that scene. It was kind of I always Bester comes across as pretty arrogant when he's talking about Lita. I mean, he is very arrogant, but he's also very wily and sneaky. I would think that he would have been a little less arrogant in this situation and not be like, oh, she's only a P5, blah, blah, blah. Like, he knows that she's been part of the Vorlons.
Right.
He should be a little more suspicious of
that was not
what
very
she
good.
can do, and maybe being a little more circumspect, trying to weed out to find out what her power is. Like, that's kind of what sits with Bester's personality to me, and that's what he should have been doing instead of just going, she's just a P5, I'm not worried about her, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
he was kind of cavalier in that regard, and it was kind of like
He should be more. I would expect him to say something like, so Lita, can you block me? You're just a P5. Are you able to block me?
Well,
and trying to feel her out a little.
It's obvious that Bester does not, or is not aware of, the whole reason why 100 years ago, almost exactly, humanity started developing the psionic ability in some, and clearly he's not aware that it was Vorlon influence, because we know this now at this point. That's come out. That's audience knowledge, and certainly Sheridan knows this. But
how do you know Bester doesn't know this?
Well,
I'm not saying you're wrong, but
why do we know? Because she was with the Vorlons, and why would it stand to reason that she, when being used as a Vorlon vessel, was she not? Would she not have been upped in her abilities? I mean, that's certainly, she was in Vorlon space. She was, part of the Vorlon ambassador's, personal whatever valet, if you want to call it, literally in more ways than one.
Do we know that Bester is aware of what's going on with Lita in regards to that?
We're not.
Clearly,
we're not,
he doesn't.
You think
clearly
he should,
doesn't.
but
yeah,
I don't know
but he's arrogant enough to dismiss her. And I didn't feel Bester was out of place during that. I felt his arrogance was actually, it was Bester's arrogance. And
you know what, I know people tend to like Bester and everything, but to me, this felt like prototype Bester, that not a lot of thought went into this particular portrayal. I'm not saying it was bad. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, this is Bester, and here he is again doing the Bester stick.
It was not as good as Bester before. This was not best. This was not his best Bester, if you will.
He wasn't at his best.
He wasn't at his Bester.
Yeah, and again, it was almost a repeat, and it's okay because they're reestablishing things with Earth, but it wasn't a standout. But okay, let's go on to. We are actually using a lot of time on this. It's great. Yeah. We're discussing everything. That's fine. But okay, so the Zahadum thing, which they do have this kind of same, and again, it's the same kind of repartee between Sheridan and Bester, that we've seen before, which is fine because that's the relationship.
They're tit for tat, back and forth,
right?
Yeah.
But they do agree. We're going to go to Zahadum. So they go out there, and as they're coming in, I guess they were probably expecting more, and then they see these other ships leaving, as they come in,
hightailing it through a jump gate.
Right, quite a few other ships.
Yeah,
and they take off. They don't pursue them, and then Sheridan gets the idea that something's wrong here. They then take off, and the whole planet blows up. Snob, let's start with you. What do you think about this? And I guess. Well, I guess we can go into the aftermath of this too, if you want. What Sheridan comes up with, but what do you think? Because
I mean, it's kind of, when I first saw that, I was like, I mean, it makes sense for the Shadow, the Dark Servants to be leaving. I would have thought they had left before, but maybe they're staying for a while, and blowing up the planet. When you're leaving, so that nobody else gets that stuff, that makes sense. I think that Sheridan needs to be a little bit. I mean, I understand why Bester would want to go there and get the information. There's probably some good stuff there, and I can see why Sheridan would agree to go, because he might want to take a look at it too. But also, blowing it up so Bester and Earth don't get it as well completely makes sense. But when I first saw this, I was a little bit well, that's strange. They just show up and these guys are just leaving and then the planet blows up. It was a little suspicious. So we kind of find out, I don't know how much you want to go for.
Let's just do it.
Okay, so we find out at the very end, Sheridan comes to meet Lita. And I think, first he comes in. I'm like, maybe maybe he heard about the fact that she's a little lonely and no one's nice to her. Maybe he's coming to say nice and say, hey, good job. Thanks for helping us out. But instead, he basically figured it completely out, and that she has sent some sort of signal to Zahadum saying that they're coming, or she's triggered the explosion herself, and maybe the other guys left because they saw the little timer on the wall that says 30 seconds self-destruct or whatever. I don't know. Just make a joke there, but for some reason they know, and she set it up because she doesn't want Bester to get the deal. She doesn't confirm any of this, but basically Sheridan lays it out, and she goes, well, what if hypothetically that were true? And of course Sheridan's rightfully upset about it. If Babylon 5 is going to be blowing up planets, he wants to be the one to make that decision and not Lita. She's got no power within the chain of command. But I thought that he would, he needs to start bringing her in a little more. Giving her crap there, that's okay. I mean, sometimes people need to be put in their place, but
it's kind of
obviously very powerful. Like he should want her on his side.
Well, okay, but and this is veering into the Lita stuff a little bit, but in terms of that, and again, I understand what you're saying about Sheridan in his position, but look at it from her position. It's, hey, yeah, you need me and you want me to do all these things, and then you want me to do it on your terms, never on my terms. It's like, where's my end of this? It's like, I don't work for, not of her.
No.
Well, I guess not technically.
So and that's what I think everybody was alluding to, is there has to be some understanding here about where Lita falls into this, because they are just using her as a resource. It's like whenever they need her.
She's a huge asset. I mean, probably equal to like a fleet of ships type of thing.
Okay, but then she should be given but a clear position,
Yes. And Sheridan also needs to keep her under control. That she's not freelancing stuff.
Sure.
But he needs to, he needs to lay that out. Maybe, and I'm assuming this is the first step of that because I haven't seen anything past this. But at least they're addressing it in some way.
I'm just kind of, Sheridan seems to have lost some of the zen he had with Lorian that he had. For you know what I mean? Because he's now, it's almost like he's reverting back to he's almost in this particular instance, he's almost reverted back to the pre interacting with Kosh and then of course Lorian and so on and so forth, and now he's learned all this, and now he's gone back to like the way he was at the very beginning about how dare you question my authority and blah blah blah, and it just kind of
does that not make sense to you? Like that?
It did not. It did not because I think she's earned her stripes at this point. Clearly.
But she blew up a planet without permission.
Well, she didn't.
Pretty big.
She didn't blow up the planet per se. She may have triggered. There may have been sense. Why the hell they didn't blow up Zahadum to begin with?
I didn't blow up the planet. I just pressed the button.
Well, I don't even think she knew the button was there.
Yeah, she's not part of the command structure. She's not part of the chain of command. So Sheridan ripping her out, what he should have been saying is, look, you've acted outside the chain of command. What if we bring you into the chain of command, give you a proper position, advisor, whatever that happens to be. So next time you let me know what you're planning and we can work together. But instead, he treats her as a subordinate to him.
Yeah.
When there's no lines of authority and chews her out. I think we're back to old Sheridan, and we're back to a very nasty version of Sheridan I actually don't like when it comes to Lita, because she didn't deserve that. She didn't have to tell him anything because she's not in under his command. And what she did was
tell him anything.
No, she didn't. And him chewing her out like that, I felt is, as I said, the way they treat Lita in this episode. And I don't know how they're going to treat her going forward. I just hope that they start to treat her well.
I guess
I mean,
my
he's
own
chewing her out
question-
to set the stage for the
Why do
rest of
we bother going to Zahadum anyways? I mean, why didn't we go to Epsilon
Bester wants to
Epsilon
go.
3 first?
Bester
know?
wants to go.
Yeah.
but Bester wanted
That's the deal.
the shadow tech.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the big elephant in the room though? With all
Sure.
of this?
Well,
Yeah,
So Zahadum is this remote planet. Yeah, they had to send an expedition to go find it. It's hidden away. You don't kind of stumble. You got to stumble over it. You don't. Why the hell has it got a local jump gate?
Yeah, good
Where
question.
did this jump gate come from? And it's what? It's part of their sort of jump gate network. So it's like, oh yeah, sorry, Captain. There it is on there. It's this gate over here labeled Zahadum.
Well,
Yeah.
they've been there before, so they found it. Maybe like it wasn't found.
What?
Before.
So a
Is
big
that
ship came
the
along
deal?
and set up a gate. Now, again, this might
Well,
have been
the-
something
the-
that happened with
No,
the
but
alliance with Earth, but
the
No, but the
shadows.
shadows use jump technology as well, right?
But they have their
no,
own.
they
can create their
just
own.
phase. They phase into hyperspace. They don't need jump gates. So
They don't
where,
use them at all?
where
Not
did
even
this
their-
jump
not-
gate?
What about their dark servants? Do they use their own, the crappier technology that needs it? I don't know. I'm not kind of asking.
Maybe
Yeah.
the allies of the shadows. Yeah. I mean,
dark
Maybe,
servants.
but this gate comes out of nowhere. We're told Zahadum is this remote place. People don't stumble over. It feels like it is a place that is completely separate from the rest of the galaxy. You got to kind of go looking for it. And the only reason they knew it was there because they put a tracker on one of the shadow vessels that was taken back, and then IPX sent the expedition. Yeah, don't ask why.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden,
Dave says,
this
don't
episode.
ask why. Don't question.
who built
Yeah.
the damn jump gate? Because if it would have been built by Earthdom, my God.
It definitely wasn't an Earth gate because it was the tri-point gate,
Oh,
and
okay.
Earth does the rounded gates. So
Okay.
it wasn't. It was a triangular gate. So I'm trying to remember which alien species
Wouldn't have been a
do those.
Minbari, because the Minbari wouldn't have been involved in that. So
I-
it would have
I-
had to been.
I kind of
Yeah.
agree with Outpost Nerd here. Maybe it's there could be super old ones that were made a long time ago or something.
It
Well,
could be.
And you might not know that they're there for some reason.
Yeah, I guess it could have been
It's a little bit
deactivated
It could have
because-
been. I just find it a little bit. Yeah.
Convenient.
it's-
'cause,
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise it would have had a beacon that they could pick up on. A normal one
Exactly.
would.
And
Um,
I don't know. It was all very.
Well, another issue in regards to this is the dark servants kind of are mentioned now, right?
We're already getting into the quarterbacking stuff, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry. Go ahead.
It's hard
okay,
not to in this episode. Sorry.
I mean, they mention this that the dark servants, okay, and it makes sense, I suppose. That they do have people that work with them, like the Minbari worked with the, but we didn't see them. They weren't part of anything that we knew of, really. Maybe they were. I mean, maybe they were the ones on Shadow Fighters or something, and we just never saw them. And maybe they were the people of Zahadum, that were just kind of isolated for whatever reason. But
yeah, you
Well,
think.
we did
Sorry,
see.
I just want to mention, Cam, if the shadows sleep for 1,000 years and then wake up, perhaps there are some allies who tend to them while they're sleeping. And
sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
Something like
that's
that? I don't know.
certainly possible.
vampire protectors or something.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're now. I guess this is quarterbacking, but I would have liked to see more about that too, because again, it was just the shadows. We didn't really see any distinction there, that there were these other groups that kind of came out and were acting in the war. But now they're being set up as like, oh, they're a future threat, right? They're kind of hanging out there. And it's like, oh, they escaped and who knows what they have, but they know everything. Now, bearing in mind that the shadows and the Vorlons leave, right? And kind of, I guess there was no agreement that, and we're going to remove the machinations we left behind. It's just like, we're just going to leave them. We're just taking off with Lorien, and we're just going to leave whatever disasters, we planted all over the galaxy. That wasn't a great plan.
I actually don't have a problem with that because, I mean, I think, the Vorlons and Shadows both look down on these other races. So
yes,
hey, we want to leave, and you guys are off on your own. Oh, what about me? You guys
I'm not.
I don't give a damn about you. You're,
Never did. They never really did. They wanted them.
So I don't really have a problem with them abandoning their allies, so to speak.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying it's uncharacteristic for the Shadows and the Vorlons. I'm saying that's a big oversight by the people that are throwing their fists in the air about how we know what's going on in the world. We don't need you. It's like, oh, do you? Did you think that through? Kind of thing. Anyway, that's just my thought. It's kind of interesting. Again, if you want to, well, no, I'm not gonna mention the Tolkien thing, but I'll just leave it at that. But
elves leaving. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I was thinking about Sauron actually. And it wasn't the original big bad, right? He was the secondary big bad. But I said I wouldn't do it. Okay, so we'll move on.
Yes.
Anyone else have anything to say about the Zahadum issue and how that all resolved? And again, they have this, haha, I got one over on you. No, I got one over on you. And Bester is just kind of left holding the bag in this. He didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah, they managed to wrap up a potential loop, which is the looting of Zahadum, and I think that's nice. The planet couldn't be left there; it had to be dealt with.
Yeah, and I think it's from Sheridan's perspective, better to not let anybody get it than not get it myself.
Exactly.
He probably cares about that much more. So, and I like the setup of the future problems. With these dark servants that might be around. And I agree with what was said earlier. It would be nice to have seen them operating. I think we only had one or two shots of them. Like we had one shot where they were looking down at, was it Garibaldi? Somebody, they were doing something to somebody and they were looking down at them.
Yeah.
That was another the telepaths being prepared for the ships.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there was another shot, I think, from when Sheridan saves the guy from saves the other
Narn.
Yeah, I forget his name. His name escapes me. He's he's a good character too. So, and that was a different race too that we thought was part of the Shadows. So that's the only other time I think we've seen
him. Once or twice. Yeah.
That's so. I mean, it would have been nice to have
missed opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, this show could have been a lot, a couple of seasons longer, and it had developed,
maybe
these sort of
parts. Maybe it was. Maybe there were these other factions we would have seen.
Well, as we were talking about offline, there's rumors that JMS has said that he's going to start releasing his scripts, all 300 of them that he's had. So maybe we'll get Al to dig into them, or somebody to dig into them. And we'll find out what the original thing was. That would be a great show with the original.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
For Babylon 5. But anyway, that's off topic. But
yeah. Talking of that, I've just done a quick search, and it looks like the Gate Network, the original Gate Network, is even older than the Shadows and the Vorlons, and no one knows who actually built the original Gate Network. So what Outpost said, similar to Mass Effect's jump relays, absolutely spot on. That's a brilliant bit of lore they could have put in right at the start of the show.
Yeah.
When they talked about and set up the scenes and talked about jump gates, they could have dropped that in. The technology, we're just copying what came before, but who built it? We don't know. And that would have then answered this jump gate. And apparently the Shadows did have a jump gate that tunneled to another planet and was a kind of hidden jump gate off the network.
Yeah, and I suppose it's entirely possible that Lorien's people,
they could have been the ones.
Could have been the original builders of the gates or something like that. Who knows? I mean, they had millions of years. So.
Okay, but I have a question here. So, if the original gates are 4,000 years old, the Shadows and the Vorlons have been around way longer than that. The Shadow War. It goes back like millions of years, right? It's not just like 1,000 years or a couple cycles. This goes back way before any of these other races were ever around. So presumably there were other races that came and went and were destroyed and so on and so forth. So 4,000 years isn't nearly enough to be establishing. I mean,
I think the original Gate Network is far, far older than that. As I said, it predates the Shadows and the Vorlons. So the original gates and the tri-gates, the three-prong gates, are part of that ancient network.
Okay, that goes back billions of years then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can write this, you can simply say that the big gates use beacons, right? So
Yeah.
only the only gates that are known to the Minbari, Centauri, humans are the ones that they've put beacons on. So there could be tons of gates left over from many years, but we just don't know about them because we can't find them.
Yeah, and this is stuff that should have been in the show. I think there's a novel called Legions of Fire, a trilogy, and they talk there about the shadows and how they use the gates and stuff like that. So all of this is implied lore outside of the show, and we have to go digging for it to understand why there is a gate at Zahadu.
Yeah, and well, Oppersner brings up, says, how do we know they used the gates back then or at all? I mean, because we know that. I mean, even Earth can. Some ships don't need gates. So the Vorlons and the Shadows, we know, can work outside of the gate system, and whether they have something in parallel that's similar, that helps them, or it's just ships make gates wherever they want. But anyway, that's
it's a mystery. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to I guess again, this is kind of back and forth, but let's go to Centauri Prime and deal with Londo and his stuff here. It's kind of quick. There's not a whole lot with him. He basically says that the Centaurum has decided not to choose an emperor right now because of the turmoil and such, and instead have named a regent. So the little guy becomes the figurehead. And presumably Londo is retaining the power and feels
the prime minister.
Yeah, he's still the prime minister and retains. He thinks he can do it from Babylon 5, I guess. But then we have this weird bit where Londo's kind of reset button as well here. It's like, oh, he's ha, Mr. Allen, joking around, kind of like first season Londo almost, and arguing about buying cups and things, which I could see in some way. It's like Londo's, he's gone through this whole thing. He just wants to get back to normal, and he's kind of playing the part. But I don't know if it worked.
That's how I took it.
Yeah. But then he has this encounter with Jakar as well. And who would like to talk about? Let's go back to Dean. I guess we're back around to
you. The very awkward encounter with Jakar, and I think it's a nice way of showing how their relationship has now developed further. And you're left. When I first saw the scene, I was wondering whether Jakar was going to thank him for freeing his world. Probably not. And I think the way it ended up was good, which is, Jakar's kind of, you've served your purpose, you freed my world, and now you mean nothing to me. Pray I don't notice you. So the blood feud that Jakar's got with Londo still remains, but he's willing to just put it to one side and pretend Londo doesn't exist. And
I was going to say, what? Again, this is getting to armchair quarterback a little bit. I wonder if it might have been interesting to see Londo kind of stop him and say, that's fine, but I want to thank you, because Jakar was a key part in saving his world, and that would have been a bit of I'm not saying it would have resolved things, but it would have been a bit of an olive branch maybe from Londo's side, to say, I understand, you got your side of this and everything, but still,
Yeah, it didn't, maybe, but I felt the way it worked, Londo knew that Jakar was not to be messed with, as in, I think Londo was feeling guilty for what he had put Jakar through. And it was like, okay, Jakar said his piece. If I was in that position and someone had vented like that, I wouldn't want to belittle what they just said. I would accept that and then back off, because they've said their piece and now I no longer exist to them. So let's just fade away and leave them be.
But this was in contrast to his scene with Garibaldi. So it was a very and I'm sure we'll discuss that in a minute because that's
well, let's go into Jakar right after Londo. But anything else on Londo here that you guys want to?
I mean, I got his whole feeling of, yes, I'm trying to relive the peaceful moment while it exists. Kind of a return to form of the Londo of old. Maybe reliving his youth, so to speak, or at least reliving a couple of years ago, being bickering with the merchants of the Zocalo, and that type of stuff, and that was good. And I I don't know if I agree with Dean per se on their interaction. I thought it was. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to kill you now at some point. But then what kept on flashing through my head was the flash forward.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, has things changed at this point or what? It had me questioning that. And maybe that was the point of this, was because we do know, what happened in the flash forward, where um, and again, it was reiterated when we see the minder on the prime minister, because that was part of that scene, right? So you know um but I don't know, it just I think, yes, Peter did a great job portraying Londo as kind of, oh, yeah. So what do I say to this guy? But also, he freed his world. He finally set him free. So
Yeah,
he
but
got
his people bombarded his world, destroyed
they did
it.
awful things. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And this was basically an armistice that was arranged between the two of them.
yeah.
I wonder if you know Jakar is supposed to be more enlightened now at this point, and that doesn't mean kowtowing or anything like that, but he still it seemed like it would have been more if he had come from just a little bit of a, maybe a holier than thou attitude about, you know look, I understand you're not enlightened and this and that and the other, but look, what happened. But again, contrast it with what he said about Garibaldi, and it's like, night and day, and it's very conflicted for me. So.
Yeah, yeah.
I like how Jeff, it's now Peter, not Mr. Jurassic. You guys are on first.
Yeah, my buddy Peter, we go out and see
thought-
baseball games. And
My thought was, at first I thought Londo or Jakar was going to be a little more thankful or gracious. Maybe this would be
Yeah.
a little bit of a. But then after I saw the scene, when I first saw them coming together, I'm like, oh, he's going to be. Then after I saw the scene, I said, no, I think this scene is much better done. Londo is smart not to say anything. I mean, he killed millions and millions of Narns. They, you let us free. Yeah, after you destroyed the whole place, after you attacked us and took over I'm supposed to thank you after you've almost committed genocide against my people. So after I saw it, I was like, no, this is a much better thing. I think it does show that Jakar is a bit more mature, because otherwise he'd be tempted to strangle him right in front of everybody. So he has matured. He has, you do have that. He understands, but he's not going to just let it go. So I thought that scene was quite well done.
forgive, but don't
GMS
forget.
made the right choice on that.
Yeah.
Forgive, but don't forget.
Well, not
would have
forgive,
been-
maybe not forget either, but
Well,
not,
no, I mean,
not
that's-
take any, action. I did think it was a little bit.
Jaquan would want him to forgive.
Yeah, but he's writing a new book, so
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
the New Testament.
yeah.
I did find it was a little bit. I understand, they want to get Londo back on Babylon 5 because that's the show's about Babylon 5. It's not about Centauri Prime. Even though nowadays a show would probably keep him there, and we'd have this sort of two separate storylines going on. But I would, I think it's a little bit fuzzy with bringing Londo back so quick. Oh, people, he's still the prime minister, and there's probably a lot of problems on Narn or on Centauri Prime, and he needs to be there. So I was a little bit, on that, but I understand why they did it.
Okay, but let's jump to the end on why they really did it.
Hold on, just let me just say, Weatherman, good to see you. Yeah, I'm glad to make an appearance. Oh, and gifted one membership.
Penny,
Thank
Penny
you.
got a membership.
We appreciate that. Yeah,
That's
we appreciate
Penny with the new YouTube names that.
Yeah, screwed
Right
up
on.
on the names.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, we hope you can stay by. Thanks for dropping by. Stay by as long as you can. I hope you enjoy the show. Right on. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, jumping to the end where we see the regent and his keeper, right? Which is what we saw Londo with, in the flash forward. And this ties in with the dark servant thing.
Right.
Or so maybe, maybe not.
Well,
I think we do
ultimately
know
it
that
does.
because Londo told us in the flash forward that
Yes.
there was this retribution,
Reminder.
and Morden, promised there would be retribution, right? He did talk about their allies or whatever, and they would take revenge, and so we see that match lit essentially here, and so that's, I think, why Londo couldn't be there right now, because I don't think they wanted to jump into that at this point. They're saving that for later. But okay, anything else on Londo Centauri Prime? We didn't see Veer in this, did we?
No, we didn't.
No.
I missed Veer.
Yeah. Okay, hearing nothing, then let's just move on to Jakar. We've kind of talked about him a little bit with the Londo portion, but then he has this other scene with Mr. Garibaldi. Jeff, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, Garibaldi. I don't know if we.
Well, that's true. Maybe we should talk about. Should we talk
Garibaldi?
About
Yeah, because we didn't talk. We only touched on the resignation. And that was kind of a fascinating scene. Maybe we should start with that.
Okay, that's fine.
Garibaldi is getting out. He's shaving or something like that, and he kind of draws like this muted, not really a happy face. What do you call it? A meth face, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he has emojis back in the 90s, right?
Yeah. He has a flashback first, and then
he has the flashback of when he was on the ship of dubious origin. Obviously, we suspect, or pretty sure, confident it was the ship from the Psychor.
Yeah.
But and he's kind of he's still obviously feeling a little disturbed by the effects of that, right? Everything's fine. Yeah, don't worry about me. Everything's fine. But he's really not, clearly. The mirror is fogged, so implying that he had just taken a shower or whatever and was trying to shave and all that. And then he goes in and he gets a communication saying that there's this message for him, and he they can't interpret it. They don't know what it is. I don't understand why. It doesn't mean anything to them. It's a coded message, right? So he goes in, and suddenly we see this fancy, glowy. I think I had a screensaver like that back in the 90s, to be honest, where it kind of just was changing all this. Clearly, it was a message from Psychor, and they were trying to activate him. Have we seen anything quite like that?
Yeah, we did.
I
think
with the Lazarus Project, I think.
Was that where we saw that too? Where they were activating him, but we didn't actually see that visual graphic, did we? Something.
It was something like that.
Was it? Okay.
I think it's quite obvious. It's an activation, because Garibaldi doesn't remark on it. He doesn't say, "What's this stupid thing?" He just looks at it and then goes and does
he erases
right
it
away.
Yeah, and then erases it.
And he erases it like he would. It's obvious that it's activated him. It's done something to him.
Yeah, and so of course then he proceeds to that's when he decides, oh, I'm going to resign, and everybody's kind of like, wait, what? After all this, what? And he's like, no, look, I put in my duty and all that. Oh, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I served in my time, and
well, he makes a good argument. He
does.
Yeah. I like to see Garibaldi being returned back to normal. This is the Garibaldi I know. The way he speaks, the way he argues his point. This is old Garibaldi, and I guess we got an episode of everybody returning back to who they were before the Shadow War episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually like Garibaldi here. He makes a good case.
Right. And he's not being antagonistic like he was in the last few episodes either.
No.
Which is go ahead.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, but it does seem a little suspect. He thinks everything's just going to be okay, and oh no, the Earth government's not going to come after him. Like, he needs to, I'll just do this. Like, I agree that he is acting more like Garibaldi in a sense, but it doesn't seem that this idea of his is well thought out. Like, he needs to, we need to solve this Earth Babylon 5 traitor problem before he's ever going to be left alone.
Well, I can't believe that wouldn't bother
I found that was a little bit.
I don't think he I don't think he made any such claim that would be it. I think he said, I'm going to step back from the front line and try and pursue my own stuff. He noted that there was still a problem with Earth going on, and he wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to go back to Earth or anything like that.
No. I mean, I agree with that, but shouldn't he be in the place to help fix it?
No, he said he doesn't want to.
Everybody else.
He made that case very clear. That's
well,
like, I've done my time. You know, and they all gave him crap for it. No, I think
real heroic. It's stay to the end.
It's almost that everybody else got their happy ending. I kind of deserve my shot at taking it, whether I fail or not. You know.
No, I completely
my
agree.
Self-determination.
Well, sorry.
Well, who else got their happy ending though?
Well, who cares?
It's still ongoing.
I'm saying from his perspective, I understand what you're saying, but he's under no obligation to do anything, and he made a good case for it. He also noted that their contracts with Earth are no longer in effect, which we had debated about before, right?
Right.
And going AWOL and all that stuff. They're agreeing to do this on their own volition, and whether you agree with him or not, and clearly the rest of the crew didn't. They all made a case against him, right? And he stood his ground and made what I think was a credible case.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to agree that it is, but I think in terms of credibility within the story, it worked just fine.
It did sound very much like Garibaldi of old, and I think that's what sold it for me. That, you know, clearly he was activated. Something was activated in him, some sort of programming. It was obviously not I don't think it was a personality plant per se.
Okay, here's an interesting question. Sorry to interrupt, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
He's acting more in character as himself after receiving this message than not. He was acting less like himself prior to this message.
Right.
So was he turned off instead of turned on? You know, is that what happened here?
No, I think the subliminal programming that was already in there, or that had been done to him, while he was captured. Now, we don't know what happened when he was on board the ship from the shadows, right? But we found him later on. I think something was activated in him that now, because it's now active, it's no longer being suppressed in his subconscious. So now he's kind of returning back to his form, the way he was, but he's being very Garibaldi. He's being very the way he was.
I'm saying it's a little bit of a contradiction. If we're to expect that he's received some orders and he's acting under orders, then they're doing a great job of emulating normal Garibaldi with those orders.
Well, I kind of agree with Jeff on this one. I think that he's acting strangely because he's got this conflicted program which hasn't been activated, and now he's activated. He's got a purpose, and whatever that, like, his activation might not be, you know, act a certain way. It might be, you know, go and do this purpose. So therefore, now he's going to do it as Garibaldi does. So he doesn't have this conflict. He just
the
has
lack of suppressing something being.
He's got a goal as opposed to.
I can agree with
being saying act this way or act this out. They've said, I mean, and I'm not. My big question about this is, what the heck are they? You know, what is it that? Assuming that Garibaldi's been, I mean, kind of assuming he's been programmed by the Psi Corps, but maybe not, because the Psi Corps was the guys who captured him and we're trying to find out where he was. So I'm kind of curious as to what this programming is going to do, and how would it be taking out the head of security of Babylon 5? How is that going to help Clark or the Psi Corps?
Well, right.
You know,
it seems
if they're behind it,
doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, how's it going to help them? Especially when we see Zach Allen in this episode and in past episodes. He seems fairly competent. He seems like a pretty good replacement for Garibaldi, and I like what he did in this episode, and I'm kind of liking Zach more and more. He's less difficult.
Better than Nightwatch Zach, right?
Okay. Before we go to Zach,
so that's I'm kind of So just to sum that up, I'm very curious as to what this plan is. Who really has the plan with Garibaldi? I'm questioning: is it really Psi Corps? And also, what the heck? How does taking him off of Babylon 5 going to work? Unless he's the first domino of a bunch of them, are they going to get? You know, are they going to remove? I mean, they talked about removing the pillars, which would make sense to maybe take out all the people around Sheridan. but they got to get Franklin and Ivanova, Delin, and
No, but
how are they
the
gonna
point
do
of a
all
sleeper agent is that you have them in a position of influence.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
And now he's no
and this
longer
is
in
the
that
opposite.
position.
So this is a big question mark.
that? Well,
Uh,
yeah, you activate them when you think that they're the best, going to do the best or most harm or best good for your side, right? So
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what this is. How is Garibaldi quitting the station and starting his own private security company gonna help?
PI, he's going to be a
Yeah.
PI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Dean, what do you get? What do you think?
I just like it because you're right. We're now where we were thinking it's Psychor and it's to get back at the captain. You're now thinking, hang on, why is he quitting? He's going from a position where he can influence and potentially sabotage to a position where he's got no influence at all on the command staff. And I think you've raised good questions. Who is actually behind what's happened to Garibaldi? And this is where I begin to really like his arc going forward. So he's quit. He's now setting up his own business. I'm eager to find out what happens to him and how successful he is, because Garibaldi was always the detective of the group. And now he's really going to be pushed into a detective role, I think. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he performs. But it was just so nice to see Garibaldi being Garibaldi after the 6 episodes where he was just this awkward, horrible, always objecting person. And you even have those moments between him and the captain that you had before. That understanding the captain, kind of like, yeah, off you go, Garibaldi.
He made the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look, what was the whole point of the damn war was for all humanity and all the other races out there to make their own destiny, right or wrong. Don't I deserve that opportunity to choose my fate too, and whether or not I could fall flat on my face, but I
it's
at least
my
deserve
choice.
that chance. It's my choice now, and
yeah. And touching farewells from Zach, and I'm so glad Zach is now being pushed into a position where he can shine a bit more. So it was a nice scene. It was well done. I wasn't shouting at the screen, as it were, as I was previously.
Right.
If I'm Sheridan, I'm actually kind of happy Garibaldi's gone. He's been spent the last 6 episodes questioning my orders all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Being a negative Nelly. I mean, let's get someone in there who's a little more positive.
I think it's kind of a good analogy would be like having a splinter or having a thorn in your, and you're just irritated and aggravated all the time, and now that thorn, which was the programming or the suppression of the programming, now that the programming is being allowed, it's kind of like, I think it's just influencing his personality to I think it's the let's pull the pillar out because we think that was one of the guys, and now we're going to pull him out.
Maybe we'll find that out.
But Garibaldi was the thorn in Sheridan's side.
But
both of those work.
I think, Jeff, you bring up a good point that it could be this his subconscious fighting this or whatever, and now the program might just be it might just be a gentle nudge. It might be
suggestion.
Hey, yeah, go try and be happy, or something like that.
Yeah. Leave, resign your position and just go and do your own thing and be happy. And, and meanwhile, this pillar under Sheridan, that's one pillar gone. Right.
Right. And we see
that seems too simple. It's got to be more than that, but it could be, but I'm curious.
Well, but I think it can. I think the best interpretation of it is that whatever pressure that he was under because of the programming has been somehow relieved for the moment, because we see him. He talks to Jakar, he talks to the rest of the crew, he talks to Zach, and we see him by himself for a few moments as well. And he's not like, wringing his hands like, I'm going to get you guys. He's acting like himself.
He's packing stuff up and stuff like that. And that's when,
he's acting,
that's when Jakar walks in.
Right.
Yeah. But do you not feel, though, in those scenes, he's a little bit, I mean, I agree with everything that was said, but Garibaldi, he seems a little bit not lost, but he doesn't seem super like he's packing the stuff up. He doesn't seem super confident, like, hey, I'm going to go off and make my own way.
No,
he seems a little bit hesitant.
He says, he's like, I could be making a huge mistake. He's like, everybody has their opportunity to make it. So he's on a new endeavor. That's natural, though.
So is he moving quarters? Is that what the implication is?
Because those quarters are Earth Force provided. Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's gonna have to go make his way in the world.
Okay, so let's get to it. We're actually getting quite a ways long here. Let's go to the Jakar scene with Garibaldi. Who's up?
Well, I mean,
Jeff, go.
yeah. So Jakar walks in and kind of looks at him, and he's almost apologetic about the fact that all this stuff happened to Jakar because of him, and this is where that contrast I mentioned went in earlier. Um, you know, uh, he doesn't know what to say. It's like, yeah, I was abducted basically, and you're the only one who came looking for me, and I kind of feel like I'm responsible for getting you into this, and meanwhile Jakar's just standing there kind of in a stoic looking very Jakarish, kind of in a menacing. And then next thing you know, he just goes and he grabs Mr. Garibaldi and hugs him and lifts him up, and and I can't breathe, and I liked that scene. I liked that scene a lot. And he's like, no, no, no. If it wasn't for you, yes, hunting for you is what got me into this. But if it hadn't been for all of that, none of this, none of the results, my people wouldn't be free if it had not been for me looking for you to begin with. And so everything worked out. The universe has this weird way of things working out in ways you don't expect, and I thought that was very poignant. I don't know, Dean, what do you think?
Again, we're seeing a classic reuniting of two characters that really get on well with each other, have respect with each other. It feels this episode's almost trying to brush, get rid of the last 6 episodes, get the taste out of your mouth. Let's get the characters back to who they were before the Shadow War, and let's get things moving back, almost like a reset. And this is a great reset. You got the stern Jakar, and then he just breaks and hugs Garibaldi. And Garibaldi, I thought the way he acted out, it was Garibaldi, that fear that, oh my God, look, I didn't ask you, I'm sorry what happened. And Jakar just going, no, thank you. You put me in the right place to do the right thing. And I might not have liked it. It might have, I might have paid the price for it, but without you, I wouldn't have been able to free my people. And it's such a touching scene. I like it. Yeah, it's nice. It feels familiar territory watching that. In fact, watching a lot of the scenes in this episode felt far more familiar than the start of the season. And this is a lovely scene.
Cam?
Yeah, I think best scene of the episode. Great scene. Garibaldi's acting exactly how you'd expect. He's hesitant. He feels guilty about what happened to Jakar. But of course, Jakar with his new sense of self and is being one with the universe, so to speak, realizes, knows it's not Garibaldi's fault and thanks him. And hey, I missed you. I'm glad to see you back. I'm glad to be back. Great scene by both actors. Well played. Awesome. Best scene of the episode.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. The Jakar being like mad, and then it's very contrived. But other than that, I did. I should have said I didn't like that bit of it, but the rest of it, the scene was very good. The interaction, what they actually said.
I assumed that Jakar was kind of putting him on a little bit by putting on a little.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah,
and he felt that way the whole time.
Yeah, it's not without precedent. Remember when Jakar shook Londo's hand back in, I think it was end of season 1 or season 2, and he came up, Londo, really angry, and then I want to shake your hand. That was when the Emperor visited the station, and he was thanking Londo just before the Centauri declared war on them. So it's for me, it's part of Jakar's character. He can appear very serious, very menacing, even if he doesn't mean it, just before he is, he changes that demeanor to become more appreciative or thanking.
Yeah, he's just playing with Garibaldi a little bit, very friendly,
I think
the way he normally does, the way he has done in the past.
I
agree with Dean.
Well, good for you. Okay.
Good for me. Wow.
So, do we want to go into Zach then? Because he also has this. Actually, Zach has
A couple of scenes. He's got
He
the
has a
Lita scene
few.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good scene by himself, with showing him as being kind of in charge of things at the
With the trainees.
yeah. And then the scene with Lita and the scene with
Yeah, we should talk about Lita too.
Garibaldi.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do Lita first, and then tie it together with Zach. We started to touch on Lita to begin with, and when she's summoned, she's like, she basically says it's like nobody ever comes to see me and treat me like a person. I mean, they basically treat her like a tool. And she kind of gripes about that mildly, and Zach actually tries to explain it to her, and says, well, this is the Vorlon thing, and especially now that we know about them, people are uncomfortable with that. But my question is, how many people knew about her and the Vorlons in the first place? Was that common knowledge or average?
Yeah, that did seem kind of a little odd, but I guess Zach maybe would have because of his involvement.
Zach,
I would
I'm
think
saying
it would
average
be
people.
I think it would be fairly common knowledge. I mean, the Vorlons are a big thing. There's only one of them. She's seen with them all the time. They're probably all like, "What's the deal with this human with this Vorlon?"
No, Vorlons aren't seen at all. Generally, that was the whole point.
I know, but when they're seen, because they're hardly ever seen, the people are going to take notice, and they're going to notice that she's with him sometimes or more than often. So I would think that it would be they don't know, maybe not the relationship or the whatever.
My point is that people that knew about her connection with the Vorlons also understood everything else about her and what she's done beneficially. It's like, I think the vast majority of people on the station probably never would have seen the Vorlon or knew she had any interaction with them. Therefore, she wouldn't have any stigma with them. And the people that were aware of her interaction knew that she helped defeat the Vorlons and the Shadow War, meaning all the main characters of the show.
No, I disagree. I think there will be a lot of people who see her with the Vorlons, especially within the alien sector. She wears the mask, takes it off when she's with the Vorlon, but her coming back and forth constantly, rumors would be flying. The command staff probably wouldn't be talking much about it, and people who don't know would be listening to the rumors. And it's those rumors of people who watch her, who see her, and she's been very visible, always by the Vorlon, walking around Babylon 5, and then at the very end, leading the Vorlon into a trap to be destroyed. So I'm sorry,
how many
think.
times did we see the Vorlons though at all in the public?
There's a number of episodes where she's walking around with the Vorlon. Here and there.
It doesn't necessarily matter if she's seen with him. Like all she needs to be done is seen once or a few times, and people are going to talk.
She's always going into that sector where the
Vorlons
Vorlons
hanging out with the Vorlons.
When she arrived
what's going on
a Vorlon ship, the dock workers would have been talking about that. Anybody who saw her would have been talking about that.
Think about a politician that is, famous politician, and all of a sudden there's some, let's say, a cute young girl hanging out with him all the time. Everyone's going to be like, "Hey, what's with this? What the hell? Oh, it's probably having an affair." And then boom, that's that would be all over the place, right? Something like that.
Okay,
as an example.
I'm not doubting that she would ever be seen with the Vorlons. I'm saying that it was pretty well established that the Vorlons keep to themselves and aren't really interacting that much. It would be rare that you would see them.
Yeah, but you just need once or twice, and that's enough to get rumors flying around.
Okay,
it really is. You look
the
at
fact that they're so
how things
rare,
are done now.
Everyone's going to talk about them.
Yeah,
right.
You take a celebrity who's got their picture taken with someone who's unknown, and instantly all the papers are talking about it. It's everywhere, and that's one photo. So it would be similar here. Lita comes back. She arrives on a Vorlon ship. She's seen every now and then with the Vorlon ambassador. Rumors are going to start, and those rumors will then mutate because she's a telepath, and it will be she's been to the Vorlon homeworld. What have they done to her?
Okay, but let's tie this back to Bester then. Then why is Bester unaware of this connection?
Because he's arrogant.
I don't know. He's an intelligence guy. I mean, I'm not saying an intelligent guy. I'm spying. Essentially, Psychor is kind of a spy thing. That doesn't add up to me. If I buy your thing, and
I have a problem. I have a little problem with that. I kind of mentioned that. I had a problem with his thing about dealing with Lita. He should know a little bit more.
I will agree with you all on that one. He came in too arrogant for his intelligence. And yeah,
He should have been suspicious that because of her interactivity with the Vorlons. I'm sure he has spies that and he's heard
Yeah.
stuff.
it would seem reasonable he
And
would
I'm
have
sure
some.
they've gotten intelligence from the shadows or allies of the shadows about this human and that is hanging
Well,
around with
Bester might not know about that because he doesn't seem to be into the shadow thing. He seemed to be sidelines with the shadows. He's
Yeah,
not
but he still,
in
I
with
think, would have
that,
gotten
right?
some intelligence reports or something like
yeah.
that.
He should have been more curious about her rather than dismissive.
Curious,
Yes. The one thing that I did question is that Zach had talked about her gills. He kind of alluded to that.
Modifications, he called them.
Modifications,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody except for us as the audience ever saw that.
Yeah.
So that to me was probably should not have been brought up as a point, maybe her closeness with the Vorlons, I got that, not a problem, and them turning on us and this and that and the other. And
Well, I don't think he knows about her gills for sure, but wasn't she examined by Franklin and was her medical? She's been fixed in certain ways, so she's obviously been modified.
But
they might say all the rumor needs to go out is modified, right? And then the next rumors are
she had this genetic defect and it's gone. Yeah.
Well, we do know that they have terrible security and information on the station.
Franklin talks about
Franklin. We didn't even talk about Franklin.
The fact that Zach just mentions modifications, it just doesn't mean skills. It's just the rumor that's going. Oh, the Vorlons, there'd be all kinds of dirty stuff like, oh, she's been modified to be a Vorlon sex slave, or something like all kinds of crappy stuff like that.
Maybe. I mean, really, right? Because the only note that Franklin ever made was that her O2 levels were unusually high, or something like that.
No. She had a genetic defect that had disappeared.
Well, that was gone, but also her oxygen levels were.
Well, I don't think
elevated.
I don't think Franklin ever discovered the gills, though, or he didn't.
No, he didn't discover the gills.
No one knows about that.
Alluded to because of the fact that she had an elevated oxygenation level.
Yeah, I think Zach's just saying modifications because that's the rumors, because has been modified at least genetically in order to fix her thing. And
why wouldn't
rumors around the station? What else did they do to
challenge that? Why wouldn't she go like, what do you mean? Kind of defensively, like, what do you mean modifications? What do you, because if somebody drops, like, let's say you're hiding something and someone just casually mentions the thing that you think is supposed to be secret, wouldn't you be like, whoa what do you,
because if by bringing attention to it, you might confirm it. Also, maybe she's heard it and heard the whispers and rumors so much that she doesn't care anymore. And it's just time, who cares what the people think? Maybe, but I'm not saying that you're wrong, Cam.
I think what this is adding up to is that there's a lot of kind of, it's like they just kind of sprinkling a lot around in this episode and leaving it to the audience to kind of say, oh, okay, I guess that makes, you know what I'm saying? There's
a lot of I guess I can hand wave that or kind of explain
if I was writing that piece, I wouldn't have had Zach say modifications. I would have had him say something like, the people, people wonder what else the Vorlons did to you, type of thing.
Yes,
right.
That would have been
not
more nebulous.
That he knows a little more nebulous. Yes.
Yeah.
But the effect is kind of the same. But
okay. I guess we already kind of talked about Lita and Sheridan and that whole thing. Is there anything else on Lita we need to talk about?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I think, on Lita, I'm liking her character a little more. And I'm liking the fact that, at the end of the episode, near the end, like Zach, sort of says, hey, you're feeling he puts out the feelers, right? He tries to.
I think Zach is sweet on her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's a hot redhead. He should be right in there. What do you mean? You're feeling a little lonely? Hey, I'll make you feel less lonely.
He even brings her a pizza.
Yeah,
she's
we don't know. It's half cheese, half pepperoni. Although I don't think we should look a little close at the pepperoni because I'm not sure that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's
reasonably nice, and he's reach out to her, like get her in.
I mean, okay. I agree with what you're saying. She's basically being like, "Hey, why don't I have any friends?" And Zach's like, well, "I'll be your friend." It's like, sure, I'll take a shot at this. Which is kind of funny because we saw Zach trying to hit on the Night Watch chick.
Well, Talia.
No, was it Talia? I'm talking about the other blonde that was hitting on Sheridan. Remember the
political officer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Way back in the Night Watch days, and she shut him down on that. But but this is completely reasonable in my opinion. It's like, oh, she's saying that, and he's like, and it's not like he's like, hey, he's like, oh yeah, bring a pizza, I'll help you out. It's like, it's not like aggressively, pursuing her, but I thought her reaction was innocent. Right. It was innocent and reasonable. But her reaction was kind of like, it wasn't like, oh, well, maybe I do have a friend.
Remember, she can read them, right? So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Redheads are hot, man. Get in there.
I would have preferred to see Lita be kind of like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, let's have the pizza. I'm not saying it's like, don't do Talia and Ivanova, overnight or anything. I'm just saying it's like, oh, I was complaining about that. And Zach listened to what I was saying. And,
You're right. She should be. I agree. She should have been a little bit more appreciative. Like, hey, he's She did seem a little off.
Okay, it's not just me then that she was.
No, I felt the same way. I thought she'd be more appreciative. Oh well, thank you. Like
she should just been chewed out by the captain.
Yeah, maybe she's just a little surprised.
That's true.
And
that's
she was
true.
surprised.
That's true. She'd been chewed out like literally seconds before. She's still burning from that. Because the door closes.
Oh, it was the same scene, wasn't it? It was really the same scene. It was like Captain leaves.
Zach
shows up.
Zach bumps into the captain.
Doesn't she smile at the end when it fades?
She has kind of
indicating that softening the appreciation that Zach's turned up with pizza to help her
Zach should be
put her IKEA furniture together.
I thought it might have been a little awkward kind of smile, but I might be wrong about that.
Yeah. Zach should be thinking, what, the captain's leaving your thing? What am I, number 2? Like, well, he's been in there. What's going on?
Boy.
No, everybody knows the captain is smitten with,
Yeah, I'm just glad the doors were behaving like doors in that scene.
Yes. Yeah, and people rang the doorbell.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't just walk right in.
Okay, anything else on Lita?
I think we covered it. I'm
interested to see where she's going from here.
Yeah.
We're seeing a little bit more of her. She's going to get a little more involved. She's pretty powerful. Mm-hmm. She should be used against, Psychor, whatever's up to that. And if she's, we're going to see a little more personality from her and between her and Zach. I guess romance type stuff, or at least a little bit, something. Not necessarily, but something like that. A little bit more of her personality.
Yeah, but if her and Zach next episode are like, hooked up already and stuff, and I'll be crying foul. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it was an innocent gesture from
Yeah,
we did skip the bit. I should say I skipped the. Bester did kind of threaten her, right? Jeff, I think you might have mentioned that.
Yeah.
He did.
That's an interesting piece of information. Yeah.
After he was clearly. She like blocked him, like hard blocked him, right in the meeting.
Made him dizzy.
He felt that, right. So now he's like, oh, what's going on? But instead of
hold on, did he know who blocked? Like, he was dizzy, but did he know where it came from?
Oh, I'm sure he did.
I got the impression that he didn't. He was like, this is weird.
He was confused at first, and then
did he figure out where
it her and figured it out?
Where else would it come from?
And she smiled at him.
Yeah, and the scene portrayed her like, jerking her head and looking at him.
Yeah.
And so I think the message was pretty clear there.
She's also tangled with bigger fish than him. I mean, if you think about it, look at what she went through.
He's nothing
during the Shadow War. He's
nothing compared to.
He's nothing, or for that matter, the Shadows.
Yeah.
Because remember, she was channeling both of them at any given time. So she's dealt with that.
Tiny fish.
Yeah, his little tiny P12 is nothing compared to her, or whatever she is now.
But then there's this bit where he threatens her and says, something about her past. So they've thrown that hook in there that she's got some kind of dark past.
Yeah, she's got secrets.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like
it's a breadcrumb, I'm sure.
yeah.
And the question is, what did she do? And she may, and how much trouble would it actually, considering the stuff that she's been through and done for
If she was more integrated with the command staff, that scene might have had a bit more weight. But she's got nothing to lose. She's been ordered around. She's outside of the command. She's been treated like dirt, and then she gets I've got this dirt on you, and I'll let it slip. She's got nothing to lose. She hasn't got friends. So the scene, Bester's threat just felt flat because she's not losing anything by him coming out and saying what she's done.
Right. And not yet, but as she draws closer to Zach and the command staff, and
maybe
more integrated,
no,
this becomes a bit of a problem, right?
This was Bester being stupid. He
tried
vinegar when he should have went with honey, right?
Yeah.
No,
if he would
I would agree.
If he would have picked up on or did some, whatever, it's like, yeah, she doesn't have friends here, or whatever. This is my chance to say, hey, Psychor is different. This is good. He could have done any kind of ploy he wanted, and he went with the most stupid or blunt object ploy that he could of blackmail.
Well, that blackmail should be saved for later when she starts to get integrated, and then he can pull that out. And I agree.
He
honey them
his
now and then leave the stick for later.
And he should have tried to tempt her and go, look, you can help me defeat all these bad people on Earthdom, with you and me teamed up together, we could do blah, blah, blah. And imagine we could free it, obviously having his own motivations, I'm sure, but he could have still tried to give her that little, hey, look, you could help me.
Yeah, lay some
get
ground.
rid of Clark and this influence from the bad side of Psychor, and you could help me reform Psychor, blah blah blah. So
he should have come in with that element of vulnerability he's shown. I know this thing's wrong. I'm on my own. I'm trying to fix Psychor for the better. It's rotten to the core, and I underestimated you. You would be a great ally. Come back to the core.
Instead he hits with, the core is the mother than the father, and she goes, I'm an orphan. Which was a great line, I think, of hers. I thought that was
I got it written down. Yes.
Yeah.
It was good.
Sorry, I beat you to it. I stole your thunder.
That's fine. I'd forgotten about that. It's a good line.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to anything else we want to say about Zach?
It's nice. It's nice to see him actually getting a bit more screen time.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
A good setup for later. I hope for him.
Yep. Okay, so let's see what else we have left. I guess Bester and his soliloquy with his.
Oh wait. The doctor.
Oh yeah, he was in this episode, wasn't he?
He was. Briefly, yeah, because there was the whole.
Was it really that? I mean,
I got Franklin and
the
Jakar
opening, and then also telling Jakar that he can get him a fake eye.
Go ahead. Say whatever.
That's basically it. I didn't think it was that important.
Which answered
Jakar is very thankful. He's like, oh, that sounds great. So Jakar seems nice about it, but
and the itching eye. Yeah.
Yes, and that answered a question because Mike, you know how YouTube is, right? When it's on the TV, it just kind of decides to play something. And it played something talking about the other series. Some of them where I guess Jakar is in, but they weren't that good or whatever. And I'm like,
you talking about Crusade?
Was it Crusade or I don't know. It was one where like apparently the combat is very awkward and stuff like that. Like they jump into some virtual thing to do combat and kicking and punching and stuff. I don't know.
It was one of the movies. Legend of the Rangers. Thank you.
Yes, that's it.
I hated that film.
I have not seen it, but I saw that and I'm like, oh, that sounds stupid. And I just stopped watching the video of it. Yeah. I didn't want to. I'm like, I don't want to spoil it if we're going to talk about it in the future.
We got to hate watch that one and then
do we? Yeah, I'll tear that one apart. I don't get good ratings, right?
Yes.
But the one thing that I did see it, I saw Jakar with both eyes, and I'm like, but wait a second, this is supposed to be in the future.
Yeah.
How? But
I'm assuming that this scene with Franklin is just a throwaway so that they don't have to put an eye patch on Andreas
Jakar.
for the rest of the show.
The rest of the show.
Yeah.
So they're gonna put his fake eye in, and then he can just one less thing to worry about, right?
I mean, they
Possibly.
could already make a glass eye at the very least, that would go in there, or fake eye. We do that today, So it's not that it's unfathomable for that to be an actual situation where even if he didn't have, and that would get rid of the eye patch. But again, when we saw that flash forward, he has the eye patch on. So has things changed now? Maybe it has, Maybe it's a hint towards that.
Yeah, maybe he just had the eye out on that one flash forward. Just watching it.
Maybe.
Okay. Bester's little scene here where, again, the tell don't show thing, but it does bring up some important things. It does show his motivation, reinforces his motivation he had before. And so, again, there's no one else here. So we get the assumption that it's true. And he talks about, that those Black Omega guys or whatever were, his personal, he trained them. This was his squadron and he sacrificed them. And he said he'd happily do it again. So we're seeing that he does have this devotion to this woman.
The dialogue seemed awkward to me.
It was, again, it was a
soliloquy, like you said. Yeah. It was just a.
I think Walter did a good job with it, but the script was a poor script. And I got the feeling he actually created the Black Omega squadrons.
Yeah. I think
so. Right. It was his creation, not just that squad, and he sacrificed 6 of them.
Yeah, not all of them. I mean,
and
not all of them. No.
We also know how he feels about telepaths versus normal people. It's like telepaths are special. Him sacrificing a telepath is a huge thing for him. That's like.
For me, this scene just strongly reinforced that it seems like Bester is he doesn't seem to care about either side. He's in this completely for himself. He's willing to sacrifice these people that he, created, trained. He doesn't care about Babylon 5. He doesn't care about Earth Dome or what they're up to. It seems like he's totally in for saving his girlfriend, and that's it.
Yeah.
And doesn't seem to care.
He wants to do what Garibaldi does, which is find a bit of happiness, a bit of peace. Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately his goal, we already know, he stated it. He wants the telepaths to take over. That he thinks that they should be the rightful rulers.
Yeah.
And blah blah blah, and
the usual tropes. Yeah.
Yes.
Typical supremacist. Mindset.
Yeah.
Okay.
Supremacy?
Is there anything that we've missed in terms of? I guess Delenn was there. I don't know if there's much to talk about.
Right at the start, big snog done.
Yeah.
Let me mention this. The Sheridan Delenn scene where they're making out. Did that not seem awkward to you guys? That was like the worst kiss I've ever seen. Like,
the celebration?
Were their respective wives and husbands watching, and they were like, "No, you can't do that." Like it looked the worst kiss ever.
We didn't even mention the celebration, really, did we? I mean, at the very beginning, the opening scenes, and the confetti that seems to keep falling forever and ever and ever.
I know the swing music. It's a recall to the celebrations at the end of World War II, obviously. Yes. And you had the 2 aliens in their embrace, kissing as a mirror to the famous picture of the sailor. I think it was a sailor and a civilian kissing.
Nurse or something, yeah.
A nurse, that was it. A nurse. I think it was a great scene to say, right, what's happened has happened. We're now celebrating. Let's move on to something new.
Give them their moment. The next big thing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Sheridan, is musing about this. It's like, they mentioned a couple times, waiting for the other shoe to fall kind of thing, or the next crisis. And there's the scene Delenn says, because it's your way. You can't let things go. You're basically a problem solver, and you'll move on.
You're a fixer. Yeah.
Okay.
No one wants to argue about the kiss, that it's awkward. No.
Yeah, it's lame.
Oh,
Yeah,
we agree with you,
This is why.
Scott. Yeah.
This is why I don't. Okay, this is why
They're
I don't.
standing on the mezzanine, and they're
Yeah, that's why the whole.
kind
I
of.
mean, this is just more, ammunition for the whole Delin Sheridan scene. Seems kind of forced, their whole love thing, but this is a little bit more peace for that. But yeah, all right. I thought you guys would be more challenging me on that. But,
Sorry, no, because we.
all right.
In this
agree.
No
instance,
problem.
you're on the money. Yeah.
You're on the money now.
I don't get it because I think
what?
both of those actors are pretty experienced, and they've probably kissed a fair amount of other people, but just between them, they can't seem to.
All right, let it go, man.
Get it together. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's going on. They're both.
What is your
experienced,
obsession?
right?
God,
Yes,
Like,
jeez.
they're old. It's not like their first time, and they're embarrassed. Oh, I gotta, and they're just kissing. It's not like you can see how actors would get a little bit these for an X-rated sex
keeps
scene
going
type
on
thing,
and on.
but it's just a kiss, and they're just like, oh, we
Can't
can't
leave it
make
alone.
this
Okay.
real.
Yeah. Message received.
Cam doesn't want to talk about it. He's
Actually, I did have when they kind of saw each other on the catwalk there. I kind of had the sense that it was like, yeah, you were okay for summer vacation, but now I'm moving on. It was almost like one of those things. It's like, yeah, they don't really belong together.
spring break's over.
Right. It was. I mean, that just popped into my head for no particular reason, but I guess I have to agree with you a little bit. Anyway, okay. Anything? Are we ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have once in a while. Yeah.
Let me just check my notes real quick. I think we covered everything. That was the last thing I think I wanted to just put in there because it's my little thing about I don't think they're really a great couple, but yeah, I think we covered everything. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we can. Do we want to skip the QB portion?
We
pretty much talked about it.
We could wrap it into our final thoughts. Yeah. I just have one comment.
Okay. Well, let's go to final thoughts then. Let's start. If you want to wrap some QB stuff in there, I'm going to put this. I'll put this up while we talk about it. So final thoughts. Go ahead. Well, I guess Jeff, you're at the bottom. We'll work our way up. I guess. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm always at the bottom. I mean, overall, this episode was just an okay episode for me. There were some highlights in it. The Jakar Garibaldi scene, I thought was excellent. Some of the scenes were very awkward. I didn't like the Sheridan Lita scene. I did kind of like the Zach and Lita scene, which technically is the same scene, but continuation of it. But I like the interaction with that. I thought the way that they came off at Lita was a little awkward. Bester was not at his besterest, and that was kind of disappointing. I think I would have liked to see things go just a little differently. He could have been a little more. I think the same thing about the honey was a well put thing. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, and I think he would have been better off trying to go for a honey approach. You think he would have known that, especially after that meeting that they had. He should have been like, ooh, I need to try and get her allied with me, or something to that effect. But man, I am hard pressed. I was thinking this is like maybe a 6.5 episode. It was, I don't think I can give it a 7. It's 6.5. And I'm sure I'm going to get boos from Madman in the chat, because I always do. But this could have been better. This could have been better. Kind of, after the previous ones, wrapping up the Shadow War, this was kind of a little bit of a letdown for me. Did appreciate the but see, there we go. Yep, there goes the peanut gallery.
I think he was saying Boo earns.
Boo, yeah. I did think it was great that the minister got appointed as the regent. I thought that was very funny, and the line that we didn't mention about that was pastels.
Yes,
So,
I'm thinking pastels.
Clearly, that shows his flamboyance. But the bit with the minder, that kind of, it's like, okay, maybe Londo made the right move on that. But overall, yeah, I think this was not horrible, but it was not a great episode either.
Okay. Dean.
Um, I liked this episode because it felt like it was a return back to Babylon 5. Characters were beginning to behave how I had always seen them behaving. It almost feels, the one thing I didn't like is it almost feels like they're trying to they're trying to get rid of the Shadow War and whatever happened there. They're kind of like saying, "Oh, big celebration, it's done. Now let's move on." Even to the point where, as Jeff pointed out, Sheridan's no longer in his Zen state, enlightened. He's back to being hardline Sheridan. So it's almost like everything they learned during the Shadow War is now lost, and they're back to their original characters. But in some respects, I like it because it's back to familiar territory. I thought the pacing was a little bit better, although the episode had so much chucked into it, little bits here and there. But that said, how many times do we complain that we miss out on a bit of lore because they just didn't spend the time to add a little bit of a scene here or a little bit of a scene there? And this is an episode with a lot of little scenes, all building what Babylon 5 is now. Heading away from the Shadow War and into the Earth Civil War. So I think it's a nice setting up scene. You got some lovely bits of acting. You also got some really irritating bits in here. But I think it's an improvement on the Shadow War episodes, in that it feels like it's beginning to slow back down and is setting pieces up ready to go ahead. And I like that. It feels like a reset. It feels like we're about to go into some really exciting stuff. Out of 10, I think I give it a 7.5.
Okay. Let's go to the man who's always thinking about pastels, Cam.
I generally agree with what Dean said, but I'm a little more negative on it. Where, meaning the points that, they are addressing these things. They are trying to reset. Like Garibaldi was presented better, and I'll mention that. I'll talk about that in a second. But it still seems a little forced to me and a little artificial. Whereas, because it seems like he's still back on his heels, trying to catch up. And it would have been better, instead of shotgunning us with all these little bits and pieces of, weaving them in more organically. It's just something that couldn't be accomplished at this point, I think. But it'll smooth out. I think it'll be okay as they kind of move into other things. But this is a transitional episode, and thus, it is what it is. The Q being thing that I was going to mention is, how much more interesting might it have been if we didn't see Garibaldi, with the Psychor guy, whatever, and then this thing where he gets this message out of the blue, and then he acts the way he did was the first thing we saw. That was like, then we'd be like, oh, okay, something's going on. Meaning it would have had so much more impact before they blew it. They basically leaked they telegraphed it too much.
Yeah, too much.
And this they could have had this exact scene as they portrayed it here without that stuff before, and it would have been better.
It would have blown our minds away. Yeah,
it would have hit harder. Been, crap! That's what happened to him after he was abducted by the shadows. Instead, they showed us too much.
Yeah.
So again, while I like seeing Garibaldi more himself, it has this dark cloud over it, because it's like, well, is it even really him at this point? Has he been completely reprogrammed like Talia? Is this even Garibaldi? I don't know. I do know, but the point is, within the story, it's a question that I should be, that I'm forced to ask. So not terrible episode, but again, it's just not. It's a functional episode, so I give it about a 7 out of 10.
Okay, myself, I pretty much agree with everything that people have said. Good points. I'm wondering if is besterish going to be a word now? Is that a new word?
I just coined it.
I think that I like the scene with Zach. I like the scene with Garibaldi and Jakar. That's great. I like the improvements of Lita. We're seeing a little bit more of her. Hopefully we're going to get a little more about her personality and her character. And
She's gone shopping.
Yeah, and I like the Sheridan and Lita scene. I thought that was interesting. It was well done. We can argue whether that Sheridan should have acted the way he did or whatever, but the way the scene was done, I liked it. I appreciated that scene. The best scene, of course, is the Garibaldi and, like I said before, Garibaldi and Jakar scene was best. Overall, a reasonably good episode, and I agree with Cam that my number is a 7. So sort of right in the middle. Mediocre, a little bit maybe better than that, but not great. But I agree, it's a transition episode. It's a bridge, so hopefully we'll be seeing upward from here. Okay, that's all I got.
All right, you got trivia?
All right. Let's go to trivia. We have, of course, we didn't do any answers because we didn't have a trivia questions last time, but we have new trivia questions. And unfortunately, I had some good questions, but some people gave them away during the show.
That's our job.
That's their job. They don't know anybody. They don't not know about what the questions are. So I don't tell anybody the questions. So I don't. They bring them up themselves. Okay, so let's read the questions. What is the first thing the newly appointed Centauri regent says when he's just appointed? And we've mentioned that. What body part is Jakar missing due to Cartagia? Who is appointed to take Garibaldi's position? Which 2 Babylon 5 villains, in quotes, arrive at almost the same time at the beginning of the episode? And when Bester tells Lita to rejoin the Psi Corps, he says, Korra's mother, Korra is father. What is her response? And I think we've answered all those questions throughout the episode. But I thought they were fun questions. Yeah. All right.
Uh-oh. Did Snob... What? We lost Snob. Snob, come back to us. Snob.
What? Oh, sorry. Okay. I muted myself. Madman's been hanging around the background. I'm going to bring him on. We're going to do a little... you guys tell us what's going on. We'll start with...
pastels, I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Here, what am I talking about?
I meant to mention the bush, the tree, family tree bush thing that you pointed out. Thank you for bringing that one up, because that was one that I did not.
Let's start with Dean. What's up with Dean?
Well, we've launched our first level taste rules, and they're going well. We're up to 357. I think it's 59 downloads now in 2 weeks. So we're really excited, and we're appearing on some other shows. So next week, on Wednesday, we'll be with the Eclectic Goat and talking about Untold Destiny on her show. And on Tuesday, it is our anniversary Destiny's Dispatch. It is 29 years of marriage between Vicky and me. And we're celebrating. Thank you. So it's about an anniversary stream, looking at the past, looking at the future. So we're looking forward to that. Indie Game Spotlight, we didn't have any Spotlight this week, so there's nothing on Thursday.
All right. Madman.
Yes. While you guys were doing this show, we have Madman Show Summer Edition. While you guys were talking on this show, I was talking with my connection in the West Coast. We're going to have an update on the Mercedes Carrera trial, finally, after all this time, on that as well. And also on top of that, we just found out Danny McBride is going to be directing the next G.I. Joe movie. Obviously on that. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about a Yuri anime that has some of the Karens really upset about. That's coming up. Of course, obviously, on the cafe, we'll have the box office numbers. The Odyssey coming out this weekend on there, but we haven't had a main title for the subject matter for the cafe that's being worked on it. And also, I've been told that Death Angel Shadows will be leaving us for East Rutherford, New Jersey, right after the show to attend the World Cup Championship
What the hell
with
was that?
Argentina and Spain. And and supposedly he got some great seats.
Right on. Congratulations. Should be exciting.
Yeah.
World Cup soccer. Right.
Yeah.
Jeff,
What is
other
what
than,
is that? What is soccer? Oh, that's
other
that
than,
game that girls
watching
play.
the soccer game, what's up with Bad News Bart?
Well, we had a great episode last Sunday. Dean was in along with Cam and
Yeah, that was
myself.
fantastic. That was
We
good.
had Professor Dungeon Master on, and if you did not catch that, his Kickstarter launched yesterday.
Backer kit.
I'm sorry, I did the same damn thing during the show too. Backer kit, thank you very much. Bad Jeff. And he has in 24 hours and some change is at 885,961
Crazy.
out of 50,000. Yeah, he's gonna clear 1 million. He's still got 29 days left. So if you didn't catch the interview, please go back and watch it. It was great. We had him on. It's probably that's probably our shortest episode ever, but he had some time constraints and we were trying to be courteous of that. He was a delight to have on. I think Dean enjoyed it as well as Cam.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I enjoyed having him on. Jeanette enjoyed having him on. She even got to say hi. So and I'm sure that at least 800,000 of this is because of us, right? Right. I mean, I'm kidding,
Yeah,
of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is a consummate gentleman, and it was great having him on. We're still looking. We're gonna have the show this Sunday, but I don't have anybody booked because EggCon is going on this weekend. So a lot of people that I would have on are going to be at EggCon. So
I love eggs.
While you're in New Jersey.
Is that where I'm going to be? Okay, yeah, I've never been to New Jersey in my life.
So they got a convention all about eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's E. Gary Gygax Con. It's by Heidi Gygax. In addition, I have this whole thing here from the U.S. Post Office. So I mailed a whole bunch of stuff. Got shipped off today for our winners from the episode 1776 from the Independence Day celebration. So if you won something from that, it should be coming. You may even have it in time for the episode this Sunday. I think most things are going to deliver like Friday, Saturday. A couple things may show up on Monday, but anyway. But we'll talk about it and other stuff.
Okay, and let me mention that don't forget to check out Nerd at Night, Outpost Nerd. He's got stuff on there all about nerdy stuff, and he also appears on the Tuesday show with Madman. And don't forget, of course, Jason live from the bunker. Usually not every weekday, but often the weekdays at 1 Eastern. Has he been doing shows lately? I haven't been.
He's had some technical issues.
Yeah.
Oh, technical issues. I'm sure he'll get that sorted out pretty quick. So go sub to his channel.
The Stone Martin Weasels
put those notifications on, and you'll find out what's going on. He's always doing his usually the news and what's going on around the world in sci-fi and pop culture.
And a reminder: next weekend's the beginning of San Diego Comic-Con. Also.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow! Yep. Already.
Yep. And if you look real hard, you might find some comics there.
Yeah, exactly.
Cam.
Well, next week at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have episode 8 of season 4 of Babylon 5, The Illusion of Truth, which is a kick in the nuts episode. This one is very painful to watch in a good way, I guess I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the episodes of the whole series that I just like really hits hard. So,
which one?
The Illusion of Truth.
The next episode after this one?
Yes.
I haven't seen that yet.
All right. Well, maybe I'll go watch it right now after this.
Yeah.
If it's that good.
It's the best episode ever. Total 11.
I watched the opening, But all right, well, we'll find out. Okay, so yeah, next week on this episode 8 from season 4, and of course, this show we also have the Top Lofty Lounge on Sunday at 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern, and this week it's movie night, and Cam has picked the movie. What movie did you pick, Cam?
Project Hail Mary.
Project Hail Mary, and we usually do old stuff.
I haven't seen that
Cam,
movie yet.
Cam insisted. Have you seen the movie yet, Cam?
No, I haven't.
This week.
I'm still.
Okay. So it's good. I have seen the movie. I saw it in the theaters when it came out.
Is it on
It's
Blu-ray?
on Amazon Prime right now.
It's on Prime. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have a
Is it on
discussion about that. About Project Hail Mary. Pretty good movie. People like it.
Oh yeah.
I've seen clips. There's somebody post. There's a ton of clips that keep on getting posted on YouTube Shorts, and
All
so
right.
I know that there's some guy named Rocky that's, and
Yeah, and he fights Bubba, the Clubber Lang. Yeah, that's the one. You got it.
yeah. No, I think
It's
his girlfriend is named Adrian or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's about. I picked this up just from the shorts.
That's a girl's name. So yeah.
Well, tune
Apparently.
in Sunday. Tune in Sunday.
Tune in Sunday and find out all the details. Yeah. All right. Okay. That's it. All right. Thanks everybody for coming and watching the show. We appreciate you. We were between. We're looking at 10 right now. We had between 10 and 14 viewers, so that's pretty good. We appreciate that.
Be sure to like and
guys like the show.
subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe to the show on your way out. We appreciate that. Helps us out with the algorithm. Check out all the people that we've talked about. Like and subscribe to them. Help them out
Yes.
too. These small, us tiny guys here on
Just
the
close to 300 on
working
my
on the
channel.
outskirts, the outer rim of the YouTube galaxy, trying to work our way in. We'd appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Good night.
Thanks,
See you guys. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.